Hey guys, what's up? Matt here, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to create stories that sell. So it's a sort of a methodology that I've been using for a while on exactly how to sort of craft a story that puts in certain frameworks and hooks and all that kind of stuff in order to, I guess, make it easier for the person to transition through the sales process. If you like this stuff, make sure you stay all the way to the end because I've got a few little bombshells there towards the end. Plus, I'm actually going to show you a story and exactly what frameworks and hooks are in it. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and cue the intro. From childhood, we are all conditioned to learn and listen to stories. We always place ourselves in the protagonist, right? So if we're watching Thor, then we picture ourselves as Thor. Oh man, if I was an Asgardian, I'd be Thor, right?
You are an old man and a fool!
So when we hear stories, we tend to become introspective and we ask ourselves questions. And so it's in those questions where people convince themselves to move forward. I'm under the impression that we can't convince people to do stuff. All we can do is try and get them to convince themselves. For us, telling stories allows someone to become introspective, start asking themselves questions, start thinking as if they're the protagonist, and then they put themselves in that position and ask, what would I do? Today, what I'm gonna do is show you the step-by-step process that I take that allows me to kind of create stories, and they have to be real stories, otherwise it just comes off as disingenuous. We don't wanna lie to prospects and all that kind of good stuff. Basically, we just wanna create a process where we can I guess, take a story, take a concept, use something that has happened in our life, and then from there, translate that genuinely and with congruence to the prospects that they can become introspective, put themselves in the positions that we are in, or using an analogy that somebody else or even a fictional character was in. And then from there, they can start to ask themselves, what would I have done in that situation? Right? And that's how we create a story that sells. So the first thing that you need to know is that, you need to understand what concept you're trying to convey, right? Because you can't just tell a series of random stories or something that you and your mates did. You can't waffle on for ages and expect it to be a powerful story that's going to allow someone to change their way of thinking, right? It's got to be a targeted approach. You're trying to get the person to place themselves in the protagonist. You want them to really ask, what would they have done in that situation? You want them to become introspective. So we need to have a framework that we want them to buy into. It needs to be kind of laid out for them. So what I'm going to do is insert a clip of a story that I told at a recent seminar that I did with Marco Cortese and Eli Wild about how to sell with stories, right? So this is a masterclass. This is where I kind of take them through the first time that I ever bought coaching. So listen to this, and then we'll come back and I'll kind of tell you exactly what frameworks were in there and what I was trying to get.
So I opened up a gym in a place called Bondi Junction, which is similar to opening a gym in Beverly Hills. Okay. It's a very expensive area. The rent's very expensive. There's lots and lots of gyms. There are 55 gyms in the locality, right? Of which none of that I knew when I opened the gym, because I didn't really bother doing any market research. I'm sort of a dive-in type person. Anyway, we had a 3-month rent-free period, and the rent was around $12,500 a month. And so I don't know if you guys have ever known, but gyms are fairly expensive to open. So it cost a couple of $100,000 to open it. And then I was $90,000 in debt by the time we'd finished it. I had a business overdraft because I couldn't get a loan. So I had an overdraft. It was about 18% interest rate. The interest payments alone were $1,000 a month, right? So, and so opened it, and then 6 weeks in, we had 10 clients, $50 a week. Right? So I had 6 weeks to then figure out a way to pay rent. And I was strolling on Facebook, and I saw an advertisement, and it was, hey, how to get 100 leads per month in your fitness business. And I was like, well, that would solve all my problems. And I had done pretty much everything. I had tried very hard. I had walked around in a gorilla suit, giving away free body fat assessments. I had done B2B stuff. So I'd gone to all the local businesses. I'd hired hot chicks in bikinis to hand out flyers. I wore a swimsuit, handing out flyers, and I'm not even a very good looking dude. So that was a bit of a last ditch. I had literally tried everything that I could possibly do within the realms of possibility and things that I knew how to do in order to get it. And it wasn't really working, but we were working hard and we were making slow progress. And so this seminar was at 9 p.m. I think. And I was driving home from a long day of, trying to find people to give us some fucking money. And it wasn't it wasn't the best spot, but I was driving home and it was at 9 p.m. and I called my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and I was like, "Hey, I don't know if I'm going to go to this thing." And she's like, "No, you should go. Like, what's the harm? Just go." I'd felt like lazy basically, and I was like, "Okay, I'll go." Sweet as. Anyway, I sit here, and this guy's name is Travis, and he had like 5 gyms at the time. And he sat at a presentation just like what we're doing now, but it was sort of about 30 people in the room. And he was saying how he has managed to get all these leads for his gym, convert them into sales, make the money, et cetera, et cetera. Pretty standard thing, right? And so I was like, okay, this looks pretty good. And then at the end of it, he goes, and it's $6,500 for 8 weeks of coaching. I was like, fuck. I didn't have $6.5K, right? Like, I mean, we can all, my thought was we can all get access to money, right? Like we can always find out, like, I could sell shit on Facebook Marketplace, or I could get a loan, or I could credit card, whatever. I was 90 grand in debt, right? I didn't have the money. So he kept talking. I left the room real quick and I called my dad, because my dad's a mentor of mine. And I can go into that later, but my dad had a lot of success, and then he ended up in the GFC in 2008. He lost everything, had a stroke. Anyway, but he's a mentor of mine. And so I called him up and I go, "This is what's happening." And he goes, and I was like, "There's this course and this," and he sort of knew all the background of the gym. And I was like, "Okay, well," he just said, "Well, do you have the money?" I was like, "No." I was like, "I can find it. I can figure it out." But, he was like, "Okay, well, do you think it will work?" And I said, "Well, yeah. I mean, the guy's got the numbers. He's got the track record. Like, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. You can never know until you do it. I mean, like I could guess, but it seems like it's going to work." And he goes, "Okay." And he goes, "And what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail?" And I was like, "That's okay. Dad's bringing the A game of dadding today. He's stepping it up a notch, right?" And I was like, "Well, I would do it. Like, why wouldn't you if you knew you couldn't fail?" And so he said to me, he goes, "Well, I'm pretty sure that I didn't raise you to act in any other way." I was like, okay. So I went back in, and mind you, I have a girlfriend and a business partner. Okay. Business partner didn't even know I was going to the seminar, just so you know. But I go, okay, I walked to the front and I said, "Okay, I'll do it. I can put 3K down. Like that's what I got. That gives me enough money to pay for food this week. And that's pretty much everything that I can muster up. And you're going to have to let me payment plan the rest." Now I put it on 2 different cards, right? So I put like 1,800 on one and 1,200 on the other. He was like, "Okay." And then I was like, "Okay, shit, fuck. This is a thing that's happening." I didn't even know coaching was a thing back then. Like I remember I came from the army, a year off, and then kind of opened a gym. I didn't know there was this whole self-development realm. Like I think I'd only heard Tony Robbins' name like once in my whole life before that. And so then I was driving home and I was like, "Holy fuck, what have I done? I've just committed to $6,500 I don't have to learn a skill that I don't even have I didn't even know like how to log into the back end of Facebook. I was totally technically inept anyway." And then this is back in the days of Optimized Press when I was going to have to learn how to build my own landing pages and shit, right? So this just shows you how far back it was. But so I went home that night and I was like, "Hey, baby, spent all our money." But she was cool with it though. Like my wife is a very supportive lady, and she goes, "Well, do you think it's going to work? And do you think it's the best thing for us in our future?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And she goes, "Then I back you 100%. She's like, "I always will." And I was like, "Okay, well, I appreciate that." And that's why we're now married with 2 beautiful children. Now, my business partner was a different person. It was a different thing. And my business partner is a great guy. He's no longer my business partner. That's a business that I sold a long time ago. But he's very much like a type C personality. Like we all know those people that you know, they're just like, everything has to line up for it to work, right? The timing's got to be right. The details got to be right. Every T's got to be crossed. Every I's got to be dotted. And so I was sort of the driving force behind the relationship in terms of like getting stuff done. And he was much more of the detail kind of, I guess, sometimes cleaning up my mess, but also benefiting from the fact that I was willing to take risk. And he was very unwilling to take risk. And so I saw him the next day and I was like, hey man, you know, like all that money that we don't have. I was like, yeah, well, now we have less of that. So I bought us a course. It was $6.5 grand, 8 weeks, and I'm going to learn how to be a rock star marketer. And he was like, the fuck you are. We need to get a refund. We need to do this. And I was like, okay, I understand. And I know that maybe I shouldn't have acted without consulting you, but I felt like it was within our best interest. And so we then, like, we then went through about an hour and a half conversation where I had to use the sales skills that I've sort of developed into what I have now to get him over the line. And eventually what I sort of told him was where I came up with this analogy about an island, because we had tried everything. I had tried like fucking walking around in a gorilla suit, giving out free body fats. And it had led us to be in a position of where we were ultimately unhappy, unsuccessful, and we were going to fail. There was no way that we could afford that rent bill of $12,500 that was due in, like, I think 6 weeks time. And so I said to him, I was like, okay, man, like, picture yourself on an island, right? And I was like, you're surrounded by water, 17 nautical miles. And that's all you can see. And so every single decision that the person who's on the island makes is based off the fact that you're on an island surrounded by water with limited resources, which is totally fair. And it makes sense, right? Because like people make decisions based off their perspective. I said, but the problem is, man, like we have to start making decisions based off the perspective that we want to have. Otherwise, this is the only thing we're ever going to see. And so I said, like, you know, like the thing is, like, we need to get the input of someone who's on top of a fucking mountain. Like, we need to be able to see everything. I want to see the mountains. I want to see the fucking jungles. I want to see this. I want to see that. I want to fucking see it. Right. And like, I know that it's possible because I just fucking saw a dude last night that is sitting up there crushing it, driving the fucking Audi R8 with 5 gyms, happy as fucking Larry. I was like, it's fucking there. Like, and the guys on top of the mountain, like, basically handing us a rope going, fucking come on up. And I was like, okay. And so I was like, the difficult thing is, man, right now, like, we're in a position where we can barely see it. I said, so how do we get from here to there? And I was like, there's a couple of difficult decisions that need to be made. I was like, the first of all is you have to believe it with me. Like, I'm there. Like, I can fucking see it. The haze is gone. I can see the mountain. Like, but like, you got to see it with me, man. The second hard thing is that, like, we have to pick a direction. I was like, now I think it's that way, you know, fuck, man. Like, that's all I got. I can just go with my gut. And the third thing is, dude, we got to start walking. And if we're going to let the fact that, like, the water might be too deep for us to hold us back, like, how much fucking longer are we going to walk around the outside of this goddamn mountain where the view never changes? So I just said to him, I was like, man, like, how much longer are you willing to fucking walk around this thing? I was like, let's fucking pick a direction, dude. Let's just go for it. What's the worst that could happen? We drown? Fuck, dude. Like, I hate to break it to you, but we're breathing through straws already. And he said, okay. And I was like, oh, okay. That worked. I was like, yeah, sales skills. And then so over the next 72 hours, I consumed the entire 8-week course. Right. I then became their best student because I was like, well, fuck this. If I'm going to do it, I'm not going to do it in half. So I might as well just, you know, sorry, lack of my vernacular. I might as well just go balls deep into this thing and figure out how to do it, how to go hard in the paint. And then I went down, honestly, I went down I think over the next 2 years, I spent about $60,000 on development. 40 of it was with the same guy.
Let's have a look at some of the frameworks that are in that story. Okay, the first one is bad debt versus good debt. Some people have to go into debt to buy things to get themselves in a better situation. Like I've done it. I don't see anything wrong with it. Obviously, we don't want people to do things that are going to put them in bad financial situations. So I wouldn't recommend someone take out a $50,000 loan or anything. But like my first course that I did, as you just heard the story, it was like $6.5 grand. I didn't have it, so I had to put some of it on credit card, but I learned a great skill that taught me how to make a lot more money down the track. And so I believe, I don't see anything wrong with that, right? So, but I have to establish that there is good debt versus bad debt. The next thing is that I tried everything. I genuinely did try everything. I had walked around with a gorilla suit, I'd done all these things. It hadn't worked, so I had exhausted my capacity to be able to fix this problem with the current skill set and knowledge that I had. Like essentially hard work is not enough. The next thing is everyone has access to money if needed. Basically when I said like, you know how everyone, I can access money, right? So I'm kind of getting agreements and buy-in throughout the story that these things are all fact. So we agree on these things, right? And it's very subtle, but it gives me quite a strong framework to work off, and I can build on those foundations later on. And then when I come into the end and I'm doing kind of an identity framework close, it's really going to give me a lot of, for lack of a less vulgar term, ammunition against the person to be able to kind of get them to act in the way that is in their best interest, right? The next thing is guidance is key, like a trusted advisor. When I called my father, asked those questions, all that kind of stuff, like I got from a trusted advisor. Now, what's the whole point of a sales call? Yes, it's to get a sale, but we get a sale because we become the trusted advisor. I'm kind of planting that seed that, going to a trusted advisor and asking them how to do something, asking them how to make a decision is okay. The next thing is that you can never know that something's going to work until you do it. So that's going to take out some hesitation, because you might get like, oh, how do I know it's going to work? It's like, well, mate, you don't. You know what I mean? But all we can do is put ourselves in the best position to be able to achieve success. So we're trying to get buy-in on that. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Again, very, very powerful question to ask yourself, because if the answer is, well, I would do it, then why wouldn't you do it? Like, why would you put yourself in a position where you're banking on failing? Partner objection. Okay, I didn't ask my wife. I didn't ask my business partner. That's true. I didn't. That happened. And I explained why. And then I explained my process about how to kind of get over that later on. And then deep dive into taking action. So explaining how I got my business partner to take action. And then all of a sudden they put themselves in the seat of themselves and the business partner at the same time. And they're kind of going like, okay, like they're thinking to themselves a lot of things as I'm saying that, like, do I just do it? Do I need to, there's a lot of things there. And so by telling a story that takes them through a journey, when it's told well, one, it conveys a level of vulnerability on behalf of me, the salesperson. And vulnerability is one of those things where it's like a handshake. You put your hand out, someone shakes your hand. It's kind of natural, right? When you convey vulnerability to someone, they will usually convey vulnerability back. It's a fantastic way to create a deeper connection with a prospect and become that trusted advisor by yourself being willing to become vulnerable. And if you're not, you're probably leaving a lot of money on the table. There's a few more frameworks in then I'm sure that you guys can kind of sit down and figure them out. I think there's like 17 different frameworks in that story. If you want to, you can grab the replay of that for like $27. I think it goes for about 5 hours. I'll put the link in the description down below, but just from that clip, I think you can see that you can craft a story that's going to put yourself in a good position to be able to get that person over the thing that's holding them back. What I want you guys to do is kind of write out your hero story. Write out, and it doesn't even have to be about business, right? And this is the thing, it's just about concepts. So I'll talk about weight loss when I'm selling business coaching. I'll talk about business coaching when I'm selling weight loss. It doesn't have to be really specific to the thing that you're selling. It just has to be specific to the concept that you're trying to purvey. And it's not always obvious, but everyone's had struggles and everyone's had things that they've gone through that are difficult, and everyone's had to make a difficult choice. And it's about being able to make that difficult choice, or being able to identify something within yourself that's holding you back, and then you overcoming that through decision making, through action, not through just sitting there thinking about it and waiting, because that doesn't benefit anybody, right? Okay guys, so comment down below if you got any questions on this. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I appreciate you guys for being here. Have a great day. Bye.